Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the Survivor breakdown. I know you guys are probably wondering, like, Joleen, you kind of gave up on covering Survivor, but it was for good reason. I just did. That was my reason. But I still watched. And so I wanted to give a recap of the finale because I still love Survivor, but sometimes I just get a little overzealous with how much I take on. So I've invited my hilarious friend, Andy Erikson, with me because she's a Survivor fan and we are going to, she's a comedian, she's a writer, she's an actress. You guys might have seen her in Scream Queens. She was a finalist in Last Comic Standing. What year was that, Andy? I forget. I was there in the audience.
2015. Woo!
2015. She should have won it all. And then you played a Chanel.
Oh, yeah. A Chanel on Scream Queens. I was one of the bitchy girls who got murdered.
Andy and I used to have a podcast together. It's a little backstory. We used to have a podcast together that we loved. It was called Deal With It. We pitched it to Comedy Central. They came and watched it. They loved it. But ultimately, I think it wasn't maybe for Comedy Central, maybe for something else.
Totally. But, I mean, it was hit, like, we still get new people joining our like fan page on Facebook. I'm like, there's sometimes no podcast.
Like, maybe we should bring it back. I mean, sometimes right? I think about it. So basically our podcast was Deal With It. And Andy and I talked with each other and then with other people, mostly performers or like writers, creatives, about mental and physical health. Like mental health and physical, because I came with like the mental health of like ADHD and depression, and Andy came with the physical health of having Marfan syndrome and scoliosis,
heart stuff. So you were the brain and I was the body.
Yes. And Andy made our little logo and it was so cute. And her husband, Alex, who's a talented actor and comedian, he was our producer. And we used to do the podcast out of my living room in West Hollywood. And it was just like, we didn't know what we were doing, but we had so much fun. And we had some great guests and we really were just having real conversations, trying to break stigma around like chronic pain, chronic illness, and mental health. So I have a long history with Andy. She's also a fellow Minnesotan. Woo! And my original point was when you were on Scream Queens, I was at home and Andy would text me and be like, oh my God, I'm out to eat with like, or I'm out or whatever, you're somewhere with like Emma Roberts. And you're like, what do I talk about? Because I'm pop culture and Andy, you're more nerd culture.
Nerd, totally, 100%. Like, yeah. It was Julia Roberts' niece, and I was like Googling, like, who's Julia Roberts? Just kidding.
And so she was like, I was catching her up on like some Kardashian stuff. So she they're talking about something having to do with, it was pretty funny because Andy had no idea. Okay.
No.
Andy, yes, Andy was on the Mermaid Comedy Hour, Renee. You remember correctly that I live streamed recently. I did a little live stream, remember? And Nana was there. So, and if you're wondering about Nana, we're going to go live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific to talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Cool. So, Andy, tell me, when did you get into Survivor and like, what's your backstory with Survivor?
I mean, I watched it back in 2000. Was it 2001 or 2000 that it came out? I feel like it was 2000.
Like 2000. Mm-hmm.
Like the very first season. And it was like, I don't know, I feel like everyone watched the first season.
Right.
Like, and
because it was so new.
It was like so like this crazy thing. Like there's cameras following these people out in the woods and they're doing all these things. And I rewatched it when I heard you covered it. So I got back into it and it was like so bizarre just seeing how much culture has changed in those years and how we like view just television and like reality TV. It was
exactly because that was reality TV was relatively new other than the real world and maybe a few other things when Survivor came out. So we were still just like, whoa. And now obviously, like you said, everything has changed so much that it's a whole different game. We're very well versed in reality TV.
Yes. And it was like, it was cool getting like the naked guy. Like we dove right in right away with naked guy. So that was cool. I'm glad there was nakedness.
I know Richard Hatch, who then I think didn't he go to jail for like not paying his taxes? But then, I'm pretty sure.
That's so cool.
It's so cool to not pay your taxes. You could be president and not pay your taxes.
Wow. do that. Need to make
Ivy
enough
says,
to be able to pay taxes.
right? Ivy says, OMG, I just watched Scream Queens for the first time and I thought I recognized her on the show from your
That's
older
so
vids.
cool.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Andy, hi Andy, from a Canadian cousin. So we have a lot of Canadian viewers and they're our
Cool.
cousins because me and Andy being Minnesotan, it's like we're Canadian, you know.
Oh,
we claim
100%. I love Canada. I went whitewater river rafting in Canada once. I think about it every
did?
day.
You think about that every day.
Every day. I was like, remember when I was in the river? It was so cold.
Oh my god. Okay, so so we were at a show recently together and I think it was Mermaid, that was the show. And we had talked about it before, like we should cover Survivor. We should, you know, like I'm like, Andy, I'm going to get you on board or whatever.
Yeah.
And then obviously we got you on board and it's the finale. So
I know.
future, we'll see if you have fun doing this, then maybe you want to join me for more Survivor recaps.
Yeah, that'd be so fun. I'm game. I mean,
Yeah.
I've watched you. So I started watching Survivor and I watched yours. I was laughing the whole. I'm like, what? You were so
know.
funny and so weird. I was like, this
It's
is
weird.
so great.
It's like how I cover Survivor and how I cover Big Brother is very weird, and I get into
Yes.
character, and
Yeah.
I kind of love it.
I
So,
love it too.
so what we're going to talk about this finale episode. So this is Survivor 43.
Mhm.
It's been a long season. Who were your favorites this season, Andy?
I mean, I was rooting for Owen. He was just so sweet and felt like an underdog. And when he, I guess everyone saw it, but like at the,
Yeah, we're not doing any spoilers. We can talk.
It's like 3 days later.
Andy, oh no, spoiler. Yes, spoiler alert. You're going to find out who won Survivor.
Yeah.
You're
This is
so
just like,
nice.
I don't know. But yeah, when Owen didn't get any votes in the end, I was like, oh, because he was so sweet. So I did love Owen. And then when I heard you like Carla, I was like, yeah, she's badass. And
Right.
Sammy was so great. Yeah, Cassidy, I was like, what?
Andy was like, what?
Yes, Owen, yes.
Oh,
Oh
and
my
so
gosh.
cute, so sweet. And obviously, you've been my friend for a long time, so you knew I was gonna like Carla.
Yeah, I could see like her game, like how tough it was and just how she was like always thinking, but she also played it pretty like smart in the beginning. She was very kind of laid low. I was really surprised to see her character change as it went on, where she was just like going in, just trying everything she could with Cassie. Like, I'm gonna rat you out to all the juries. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Right? That was crazy. One thing I will say, and we can kind of just jump around the episode. You know, most of the season, Cassidy and Carla worked together, and I loved
Yeah.
that because we love seeing women work together.
Yep.
But it dissolved so ridiculously, and it
So
was
surprised.
right, and it was all over what that little guy said. The 19-year-old was able to convince Carla that Cassie was like coming for her, talking about her, and it wasn't true. And then the relationship just went.
Oh yeah, Sammy. He was actually 45 years old and told everyone he was 9. Or no, he was actually 19, but told everyone he was 45.
And he's spilling tea. You guys, he's 56. He's retired
56
and a
years
dad.
old. He did a ton of plastic surgery before the game to look really young.
Oh my god! You
No,
guys,
actually, no. Sorry, he's 12 years old and he was playing.
he's unborn. He's a zygote, and he
Yeah,
is
he was-
here from the womb, and he's just visiting. He got a time machine like Marty McFly in the uterus. Make sure you guys smash that like if you want to support the channel. You know that's the best way to do it. Just a quick reminder. And if you want to, you can send a super chat while we're live. Join my Patreon. Join my membership. Hit me up on the Venmo and the Cash App. And make sure you follow Andy. And Andy, you have a channel, right?
I just joined Mastodon, everybody, and I'm at like 27 followers.
What the hell's Mastodon?
It's the new Twitter because Elon sucks.
Oh, he does suck.
Yeah, so he blocked people on Twitter from even linking to Mastodon. So you can't even link to it, which is not. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Nerd World, Joleen.
I need to. All I know is he dipped out of a Twitter space when they asked him, "Why did you block the journalist that?"
Yes,
You know, and then he was like,
in,
"I gotta
he
poop,"
just-
and he left.
He was just like, I'm a little weeder, and I'm just wondering why you guys don't like me. And they're like, because you're being a fascist. He's like, bye.
He's like, in most countries, tyrants would kill the people.
Yes.
At least I'm just. And you're like, what? You're comparing yourself to the worst common denominator. Oh my.
It's
Okay, so
fun.
Mastodon.
So
is it
I'm
like
at
Mastodon.com? Why is
honestly,
it Mastodon? That's a
is-
horrible name.
it is horrible and it's so confusing, but And it's like, wait, it's not gonna take off. But please follow me there.
Well,
It's
you had
so
a big
confusing.
following
There's
on Twitter.
servers. I'm at Mastodon, which I don't know how to spell it. Just mash some buttons. Mastodon.world/
What?
I'm so sorry. You have to pick a server and they're all stupid. Mastodon.world/ @Andy Erikson. There's no C in Erikson. I'll just type it out somewhere.
Oh my gosh, Andy.
That's really what I'm promoting. I'm leaving my 8,000 followers on Twitter to have 10 friends on Mastodon, and that'll
Oh
leave
my
me.
gosh.
We'll see.
Okay,
I'm ready
so
for a change. Let's do it.
But you have a YouTube channel too.
I do. Oh, I should post
Yeah.
that. I don't.
Yeah.
I think my name on YouTube is Runaway Bucket. I don't think I was able to get my own name. I think someone took it.
Someone took Andy Erikson?
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe I took it before and then got locked out. I don't know.
Okay, Kate, Joleen, help her. Well, we're gonna help you, Andy. We're gonna help you with this because we're gonna, because I know you have stand-up videos up.
Yes,
I know
I've got my stand-up up there, some sketches. I want to start a podcast.
Jamie's like Runaway Bucket.
Runaway Bucket.
That's Andy. She is just Andy's an original. She's a unique.
I don't know.
You know.
I'm
oh
doing
my
gosh.
Best. You're doing awesome. Well, we'll find a link and I'll drop it in the description for your channel and also for Mastodon. Isn't that a dog?
I think it's like a giant elephant from the past.
Okay. For real? Whose is it? Who owns it?
Just some person. I don't know. They have a Patreon. You have to I don't know. It's just my mom.
Are you sure this isn't like some kind of multi-level marketing and they're like, you tell 5 friends and we'll follow you?
I do need 5 friends.
Oh, I'm thinking of a mastiff. Thank you, Kate. Yes, furry elephant with tusks. Okay.
Yes, and it's Mastodon. Mastodon.world.
.world.
/ Andy Erikson.
We were .world in.
Well, you have to pick a server. So there's mastodon.social, but that one filled up, so I couldn't join that one anymore. There's mindly. So it's so stupid, you guys.
It's filled up, Andy?
Yes, they fill up because the servers are run by people who have to use their own money to fund it. So and it costs like $400 a month to run it. Oh, so you have to get people. I don't know. It's not going to last.
Well, follow Andy there. Yes. She's going to blow up on masturbate.world. Whatever it's called.
I know, like what do you call it when you send, in Twitter, sending a tweet? I'm like, am I masticating?
You're masticating and masturbating, and it's just, it's really interesting. Jamie B says, no, Ali Velshi from MSNBC is on Mastodon. It's the new normal people Twitter. Okay,
I love
Jamie
it.
B. So we have a lot of people who know what you know, Andy, and are into the, they know the Twitter nerd culture and all of that.
I'm just the normal, I'm sure there are normal people on it, but I don't think most people are able to figure out how to sign up. So we'll figure it out though.
Yeah, I want an account now just to be like, I'm on Mastodon and have people go, what? What? Renee said a tweet is called splooging on Mastodon.
My splooge feed, everybody. I splooged.
Oh my gosh. Natalie's coming in with some Survivor tea. I saw that. Ooh. Eliza Orleans from and Micronesia were after Gabler on Twitter for liking pro Elon Musk tweets.
Oh, I mean,
would you?
Maybe he was doing it ironically.
I kind of.
He was hiding in plain sight.
He's hiding in plain sight.
These tweets. So.
Just in case. And I kind of look at. Just in case, I kind of look at Gabler and I think, yeah, he likes Elon Musk probably, right?
Yeah, he's in that demographic. Military.
Yeah, I think
wears headbands.
Yeah, probably, dreams of Teslas. I don't know.
Yeah,
but okay, I'll stop going off the rails. But it's so fun. Back to okay, so we come into the finale and we are coming off of a huge move by Jesse. Jesse took Cody out, had Cody's idol, used Cody's idol on Owen. They flushed Carla's idol, and you're just like, Jesse's a master at this.
Brilliant, but could you ever do that to your best friend?
Yeah. No, I talk a big game, but I guarantee I'd feel bad. I think I'd feel bad.
I wonder because it's like I thought it was such a cool move, but I was just like, he could have made it in. I feel like he maybe could have made it, but you're right. In this new era, you have to make those big moves to win. But I was just like, oh, I would suck at this because that guy, look at his face. He's so sweet.
He's
sure.
Livin. Remember his tattoo? Live in.
Yeah. I'm sure he'd get annoying, but he seems sweet.
Yeah, I think he'd probably get annoying too, but he does seem sweet. But that was a big, I mean, Jesse has been him and Carla really were the biggest threats in this game.
Yeah.
And so Carla from like a social and strategic standpoint, and Jesse, it was from a social, and I mean, he was pretty masterful. And I think if Carla didn't find herself swayed by Sammy against Cassidy, I think Carla's game would have went so much better, and I think Cassidy's game would have went so much better. But then it became what I hated in this finale, Andy, is then I was seeing Cassidy and Carla, like, you know, kind of like, I'm gonna take her down, and then now Cassidy's like, oh, so Cass knows that Carla came for her. She's like, now it's my goal to take Carla out. It's like, but is Carla really the bigger threat, and can you work with her again, because those relationships can be repaired?
Like, you have to think long term, but it's so hard to. I think I see people get fixated on that one person that doesn't like them and they can't block it out.
Exactly. And it was so, yes, and it would have been fantastic to see Jesse, you know, and Cody and Carla and Cassidy, and not to take away from Owen, but you have these like power couples sort of, you know, which I hoped Cass and Carla were going to evolve to keep evolving in their power coupleship, but unfortunately no.
Yes, I'm just so surprised that it worked, that he was like, I can get Carla to flush hers. Like, I was like, that seemed like, why not just save it? But then I was like, oh, frick, he has another one.
So then we find out that he's got freaking Jeannie or Janine. Now he's got Janine. And look at Janine. She's like, that's mine. That's mine from Dwight. You took that. Oh my God. Those are my beads. And so it's like,
those are my beads.
Jesse is on lock at this point. Like, he's killing it. You know, the whole jury's just like, oh my God. She's like, is that my bracelet? And James is like, I think that's your bracelet. I think that's your bracelet.
I think that's your bracelet.
I think that's your bracelet. So these big epic moves are being made, you know. And then we go back into now that they are the final, what was it, 6 then or whatever. Then they go back and their camp is gone and they have to start over on a new camp. And they also have to do like a word puzzle to find an advantage. I feel like, Andy, you'd be so good at that.
I watch those and I'm like, I wish, because the camera goes around too much to see facial expression. I'm like, keep it on the puzzle, man. I just want to look at the puzzle. I just want to do the puzzle. Yeah, that's what I think. That's where I would thrive. But then I would lose my cool right away and be like the angry one who tells everyone what to do. I know that would be me. Just like, we're doing it wrong. But then puzzle time.
Puzzles. Yeah, then Andy would be killing it at those puzzles. I think obviously we see Carla, she kills it with this.
Yeah.
But Owen very close behind, and they find the knotted tree, and then she pulls it right from under his eyes, and nice little Owen is kicking sand. Andy, what did you think about your dude doing that?
Yeah, I was kind of like, I do get bursts of emotion make me uncomfortable. So where I'm like, come on. But it also is like freeing to be like, yeah, I want to do that. So I was just living through him and being like, I've been there, not ever in a situation like that, but like, I've been there. Someone stole the last cookie when I'm in line and you're just,
no, not the maple leaf cookies from Trader Joe's, which are arguably the best cookies that were ever made. Good. Oh, they're so good. But yeah, it was crazy. And so Owen, you know, unfortunately, what ended up, was I dumb or something?
Good?
Yeah, he's still killing it. But what ended up being the advantage that Carla got?
She got like 10 extra letters or 10 letters early. So I don't know if it ended up helping that much because she was dealing with her ankle and her finger, which is such like a weird injury. Like, finger hurts, which
I
I know is a real
know.
injury. But it's
Right?
so
But
funny.
she's just like very hurt, and everyone's lost a ton of weight and they're all starving.
Yes.
So they go into that immunity, right? That's the immunity competition, and then
Mm.
uh Carla's doing really well,
Mhm.
but ultimately Owen seizes that win. So
Owens.
that was a big comeback for him because he had just
Yep.
lost this advantage and was able to, you know, win. And then he also got like a steak dinner
Yeah, they
and
were all so
wine,
excited. Steak and
right?
was it potatoes too? And he brought
Mhm.
Cassidy, and they went to that little like Swabi hut. I want a vacation to this island. Do they let people do that?
To Fiji or to the yeah,
To
to
like
where
their like specific like
I bet
location.
you I bet
I
you
think
they do.
they're constantly filming there, so there's like no time.
You are 100% right. They're always filming there, and because like now Survivor has like 2 seasons come out a year, and the winner of last year's Survivor, she was just on this Rob Has a Podcast channel, and he was like, "When did you film your season?" And she was like, "2021 May to June," and I'm like, "That seems like 10 years ago."
Wow.
But I mean,
Well,
that's
if
how
they're at
quickly
43 seasons and they started in 2000, so it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, that's 2 seasons a year.
That's a
3
lot, but I
years.
feel like it was for a while, I feel like they only did 1,
Yeah, they must have
and then
had
they
some years
doubled.
where there was overlap.
Yeah, it's just been so much Survivor, which cool.
Well, they made
Um,
it shorter, right? Because it used to be like 39 days,
yes, they
and
made
but
it
it was like
25.
and then in the older seasons too, they have episodes where it's like, in review, the first 24 days, and then they like go to their hometowns, and you kinda get to see it's like
There
they
was so much, and then
yeah.
they also do you remember they used to do, Ponderosas, and now unless they're
Mm.
doing it on their YouTube channels, I didn't see it, so they would all go to their Ponderosa, which is, the hotel or whatever they're at, when they're kicked off and when they start jury, and I loved watching the Ponderosas because
Cool.
they would get on the scale and you'd see how much they lost, then they get their first meal, they would meet up with other survivors that
Wow,
were,
cool.
there already, and it was really fun to watch, but I haven't seen anything about that. So
So they must be like adding in new are they adding in new things to replace other things?
I
Or is
I
it
don't
kinda
know why they're not doing that anymore. Maybe it is because it's so much production putting out
yeah.
multiple shows. But they used to upload it to their YouTube, I think like CBS Survivor
Okay.
YouTube, and it was really fun to watch. ALS says, I thought it was interesting that all 3 finalists each won 3 of the 9 immunity, right?
Wow.
That was crazy because Ryan broke that down. He was like math whiz. He's like, in this percent, 1/4 of you, 1/2 of that, and a third. And I was like, okay, Ryan. Um, so we had some real comp beasts because Jesse, for as good as he was strategically, had no competition wins.
That was weird too, yeah. And I love that he was hiding it from everyone, like his real background where he's like, "I was a political scientist major and I studied," and I'm like, I love everyone having like a secret that they're not telling. I wish that was a twist of it too. We had to guess like everyone's secret.
Yeah, and I love when they do release their secrets, the stuff
Mhm.
they've been hiding on these
Yeah.
shows, whether it's this show or Big Brother. I like when they're like, I'm secretly a surgeon. You're like, what? So they're really
That's so
that
cool.
that was cool. And with Jesse, that made so much sense. I think it was
Yes.
Ryan or James or someone was like, I knew it. Of course you, of course.
Well, and then Noelle was, an Olympian, right?
Yeah,
Paralympian?
Paralympics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
like
like,
a medalist.
"Either way, I'm an Olympian."
She was like, just so you know, Cass, great job winning 3 comps because I'm a para-Olympian."
Olympian.
So and I was like,
That's
"Yes,
crazy.
Noelle, you should be very proud of that." But it was just funny. She's like, "So I can say more than anyone else here that you did well. You're welcome."
Yeah.
But Carla won a lot of stuff, and she won that really difficult competition where she and was it Owen? Outlasted
I
the
think
comp
so.
where they had their head underwater, and I was like,
Oh,
or
yeah,
was
and
it
it was like,
Cody?
"This is the first time in
No,
the history of
Owen.
Survivor where we're ending this competition," and I'm like, "Well, I think in the past you just would have let him just do it. Y'all would have stood there for 30 hours because you'd have been like, whatever.
But he's like, the tide's too low. I'm like, push him under. No.
I'm like, why didn't you measure it? Yeah, let's start slowly lowering the like 2 idols. Like, what? That's not fair.
I know. So they just were like, well, oh well. That's how
Yeah.
that goes. So then Owen takes Cassidy to the dinner, and they're really good friends. They've developed a good relationship now that Cassidy hates Carla in this game, which it just continues to break my heart, Andy. I wanted these two women to just bulldoze, you know. I was so team both of them working together, and all it took was Sammy, but I digress.
It did seem like there's like no hope for them being friends again. Has anyone followed up to see if they're like going to dinner together, going to the library together?
Are they having lady dates? No, but I did find a video on Twitter of Cassidy. So there's quite a bit of I would say controversy around this win, because Cassidy herself did a little video, and I transferred it over, but I didn't put it through an iMovie yet. So I'll just play the audio of what she said. And it's something she posted, and I'll just play it into the mic and we can all hear it. But she's talking about misogyny, which what, you know. Okay.
Man had played the way.
Okay, here we go. Can you guys hear that? Okay.
If a man had played the way that I played the game, they would have won with a landslide. And if a woman had played the way that Gabler played the game, it would have been called a goat. You know what I mean? Like it was, to me, that was really hard to come to terms with, because I was like, and especially in the season where this was like a theme, if a man had played.
So I would like to hear from you guys in the chat, and I want to hear from Andy too. Do you agree with Cassidy? Do you think, and I know we're skipping around in it, but it's okay, it's the finale. Do you think that there was misogyny that came into play regarding Cassidy's gameplay and her only getting 1 vote in the end from James, and Gabler winning? And so essentially she's saying, you know, if a man had played the game she played, he would have won. And if a woman had played the game that Gabler played, she would have been considered a goat. And a goat in Survivor is a lot different than a goat in the real world, which is the greatest of all time. A goat in Survivor is like someone that's easy to beat and you would bring to the end.
That is so confusing, Joleen.
I know. It took me years to figure out, because like, why do they call this person the goat? They're not even good. And they're like, that's the point.
Yeah. And goats are so cute.
Andy loves goats. At least it's not a squirrel. You love
yes,
squirrels.
They'd be considered the squirrel. I'm like the champion. They're like, no, they'd be considered a loser.
So let us know, Andy, what do you think about that?
So what I because I feel like you guys know a lot more than me, but I kind of agree that there's absolutely sexism in the way people view and vote, and the way people, you know, maybe even the strengths that women might have might not seem as important or significant. But like comparing Cassidy and Gabler, like in my mind, they both kind of played similar games where they didn't really play much of a game. Like that's what it kind of seemed to me, that they were kind of just going for the ride, playing it safe, not trying to do too much. So it is weird that he won so strongly, because I don't see what he did that was so great. But I just like that everyone seemed to hate it, not hate him, but he was annoying enough that they were like, no one's going to want him to win. So it is weird that everyone, maybe it was his sense of humor. It seemed like everyone was laughing at what he was saying. And maybe that's sexist, where it's like, they think he's funny because he's a man. I don't know.
We don't know anything about that, Andy. People thinking men are just funny.
I just did a show like last week, and someone came up to me and they're like, in the bar, and they were like, you know, when I saw you, I didn't think you were going to be funny. And I'm like, oh, have a nice. And he's like, no, you ended up being funny. I was like, what the fuck? You looked at me and we're like, she's not. I'm like, what do he's like, you know, because you look, you know where you look. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I look hilarious. Like, what's wrong with you? Anyways, so yes, women have to start from a place of being judged and have to earn like respect as being like intelligent or funny or anything. Like you can't, you look at a man, you think, oh, he's probably funny and smart and whatever and rich. Anyways, I do think misogyny played a huge part in this. But as far as the game goes, I would be interested to hear what you guys say, because you guys kind of see how people have seen more seasons than I have.
Mm-hmm. Well, I loved your insight, Andy. And I will say, yeah, their games are kind of similar. I think you're very correct on the Gabler thing, where his final, they're pleased to the jury once they got there at Final Tribal. I think that he did make a lot of people laugh. He did. He knew what he did in the game, and he delivered that message to them. Cass, unfortunately, I think she thought she knew, as did Owen, because they were just like you said, they were like, let's take Gabler, he's a goat, dragging to the ends. And I think when she tried to, talk about like her biggest move, and then she claimed the Ryan move, and the jury was like, Ryan's like, well, actually, Jesse said that's not true. And she was like, oh, and I wish in that moment she would have had another thing to come back and say, well, I had this too, or I had that.
Yeah.
And again, it is more of a safe game then, but Gabler really didn't put himself out there anymore, but he did talk a lot about how he put ideas in people's heads, and that can be just as important and powerful in this game as actually taking them out. You make other people believe they got to get rid of this person or that person.
Yes, but I think someone should have called him out and said, like, oh, you thought you put that idea in my head? Because we were putting ideas in your head the entire game, making you think you were putting ideas in the head. Because he would be like, I'm going to go do this. And everyone's like, well, yeah, that's what we wanted you to do. So I think they both got played. But I also think that's so smart. Like, there's still power in laying low. There's huge power, because Jesse, they knew he was a threat, so she made him do the fire. If he would have laid low the entire game, he could have made it. But then also, would he have won? So it's like, honestly, everyone just needs to learn how to make a fire. This is all. Learn how to make a fire really fast. Doing it right now. If you can't make a fire in 4 minutes, fucking, you're done.
Seriously. Oh my God.
Don't go on Survivor if you can't make a fire. Like,
and I don't blame Cass one bit. We did have a season of Survivor where somebody, what was his name? I forget. I think it was, you guys will remember. I think it was David versus Goliath, right? That guy that had to win his way back. Was it David versus Goliath? And he put himself in the fire making challenge, and he didn't have to, but he needed to build his resume. So Jesse did what only thing he could do, is try to convince Cass that you need this for your resume. And would it have been great for her?
It would.
Yes, but
you're right.
Is it worth?
No,
if she's not very good at fire.
And doesn't second place still get more money anyways? Like second and third, they get a bump. So like you get like a couple $100,000, I thought. So it's like you do just want to get to the final three.
Yeah, and she had already won that last immunity, which is a big move to tell. I mean,
that's true.
Right? That comp is actually really hard. And in the past, I mean, that's something that it's a lot of patience. It's time consuming, endurance, all that stuff. So
is that where she the one who stacked all the cups?
Yeah, that's
insane. I would be so frustrated.
Owens fell, and then he kicked sand again, Andy.
See, I feel like though he did kick the sand. Damn it, Owen. I love it. You should have just thrown the sand at everyone else. Just throw it at Jeff.
Right, Jeff, you keep talking. What do you think about, we've never talked Survivor before. So what do you think about Jeff talking so much through all the competition?
During the game, I'm like, stop your, like, during the puzzle game, dude, I'm trying to solve a puzzle. And you're putting words in my head, and you're making me I'm like, let me solve like when my grandma talks, I'm trying to watch Wheel of Fortune. No, I'm sorry. Let me solve my puzzle. But it's also like, this is his show. So he's just like, I'm the star. Like, so I need to talk.
Exactly. And he's just like, well, can she do it? She's about to fall and fail and lose everything. And everyone who's ever loved her. Does anyone believe in her? I know I don't. Let's go check on someone else. And you're like,
he has never won a challenge. And here he is lying in the sand. Doesn't know how to swim. Can't walk. No friends, no family. His aunt doesn't like him. Just like, where are you getting this?
If he doesn't finish this puzzle, his life is for nothing. He should end it all.
Yes.
Very dramatic.
The worst player in Survivor history. But it's also like, it would be weird if it was just dead silence, but like maybe we need someone there playing bongos. Like maybe we need some more instruments. But also if that was my job, I think I don't think I could do that. Like a hosting gig, like, oh, you need to comment for 23
Andy,
years.
Your comments would be so funny because I know they would be at things that didn't even have to do with the competition. You'd be like,
yeah,
he has a piece of hair. I like that piece of hair. It's really cute.
Oh my gosh.
There's a squirrel.
You guys, there's a squirrel over here. And then the camera crews just follow me into the island. Like, oh, we're going to eat this squirrel, but not for real. We're just going to put our mouth on it.
Only if we're dying. Thank you, hello, for that. Yes, Edge of Extinction had Chris Underwood come back. Not David versus. Yeah, Chris was the one that he came back. He was gone for a while, and then he came back, and he didn't have to do the fire thing. And I remember him doing that, and that ultimately won him the game, I believe. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, because sometimes I get my Survivor facts mixed up.
For sure.
So I did. I pulled a Robin Dixon. Andy, do you know who Robin Dixon is?
Mm-mm.
I knew she would. You don't watch any Housewives, right? She's a housewife of. Yeah. Do you watch any?
Okay. Yes. Like Karen Bozer, who lives in Little Falls. She's a housewife.
Not your friends in Minnesota, but like real. Is there a Karen Bozer in Little Falls? That's such a cute situation.
Yeah, she's delightful. Yes.
How old is Karen Bozer? Let's just dox the hell out of her.
Oh my god. I mean, as long as you're sending her like cookies or house decorations for her yard.
No, Robin Dixon from the Real Housewives of Potomac.
Okay.
She played a recording recently on an episode, and it was crazy. Oh, but she likes gnomes. Oh, well, shout out to Bozer. I love
gnomes
that.
Are in.
Gnomes. Okay.
It's just like the nose, and there's no eyes, and their little beard.
They are really in right now. They're everywhere. They're on my socks right now, I think. Yeah.
Really?
I really do. Let me see if I can show you. Without,
I'm gonna make you show me. No.
Heart gnome.
Cute.
My little slippers. Okay. And my white legs, which I hope I shave my legs. Okay. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Yes,
so
to prepare for this interview, I didn't shower or eat for 29 days. So
that's so Survivor and so Hollywood of you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's combine it.
Are dirty and we stink, and it's in honor of our Survivor
stinky Survivor friends.
Our stinky Survivor friends. So I think a lot of people in the chat, I mean, a lot of people on Twitter are very upset. I mean, I would have loved to see Cass be able to pull it through, but I do think there were reasons. I think she got too fixated on this Carla thing. I think, what else? I also think there might have been a little bitterness too. Because she did take Jesse out. Now, when Jesse left, okay, so we have Owen wins. He takes with him to the meal Cass, and then they go to tribal, and then Carla leaves.
Oh my gosh, when she too, she was like, yes, what a great game. Like, she was like, this is Survivor. Like, you could tell she just loved the, like, she was like, yes, this is how we do it.
She went out like such a champ, and she fought to the end. And we finally got, Andy, my favorite thing about Survivor is when they go off and whisper and make side deals. I hate when they already know what they're going to do. I love when they're like, right? It's great.
I'd never seen that. And I was just like, what, is this allowed? And I'm like, Jeff, come on, is this allowed? And he's just like, I guess it's allowed. Just like, go talk. And I'm like, what? And then I loved at the very end of it, Owen wearing his like necklace, his immunity necklace, is all this going on. And he's like, that was fun. I'm like, yeah, it was fun. You don't have to worry about anything. I'm like, anything could happen right here. He's like, that was really fun.
That was really great. That's the great thing about Survivor is most of the people that play it are huge fans. Because I feel like you have to be a fan to play a game like this. Where I watch Big Brother too, and there's a lot of people they just recruit who are not fans of the show. Yeah, they just are like, I want to build my social media. They're all influencers, you know?
Right.
But this show, you have to go out, starve
Yeah.
yourself, sleep with bugs, have stuff crawl in your orifices,
Yes.
do water dumps. Do you know that they poop in the water, Andy? Do you ever wonder where they poop?
Well, I read in the first seasons they built a latrine and they would build it off and they'd have like a little area with the latrine. But it makes way more sense just to go shit in the water.
But could you? I always think about that, and sorry if anyone's eating or anything, but I always think I just don't think it would come out in water because it's like so like I don't think, I mean, but I guess you can pee.
No, Jolene, it comes out. You just hold 2 hands onto the pontoon and you just grind.
You've done it?
I 100% have done it. It's you're in
You
a lake.
pooped in a
Not
lake?
in a pool. It's in a lake. 100%. I'm so surprised you haven't. We should try it.
No,
It's just
never.
the fish get to poop in the lake. Why can't you?
But I swim in there, Andy. What lake?
So-
I'm not going. What lake?
Open your mouth. Just like,
I do sometimes.
ugh.
Oh my gosh, you've water dumped. I've never even heard anyone admit to water dumping in a lake.
Mm-mm. I mean, I wouldn't tell people as I'm doing it. Like it's something you talk about. Like you want to go like, I'm pooping right now.
I know about the like having sometimes you got to pee in the lake or whatever. But wow, Andy, you're ready for Survivor.
I totally am.
But
I could do it for a day. I can do
what
the first
people
day.
know, so you're holding on to the pontoon
You're
and then
just-
it floats up and you're like, not me, not mine. It's not mine.
Poop does not float. Have you ever pooped?
Oh yeah, it does that. Oh, never mind. Well,
Does it
Never?
sometimes? Like maybe
I
the
don't
little
know.
ones do.
if you have too much fat in your diet,
It does kind of float now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. These are the things that intrigue me about. You could go get strategy from our
Mhm.
friends Sarah and David at Nerdtainment, or
Mhm.
Rob has a podcast. But if
Mhm.
you want to know about the pooping and the
Like-
inside, deal
Mhm.
and the weirdness, you'll have to come to me and Andy.
Well, and
Okay.
I looked into it too because I was like, oh, you must have to have perfect health. Because I was like, if you take medicine or whatever, but like they have like a medical station where every night you go and you take your medicine and then you get to like do your contacts and like so it's
in
like
Survivor?
yeah. At least
Oh,
they
I
did in the
didn't
first few
know.
seasons. I read an interview from one of the guys who worked on it. So yeah, if you take meds, they give you your meds and they sunscreened you too, and they did made sure you had sunscreen.
That's been my one thing where I've thought, could
Yeah.
I do this show? I know I couldn't, but I was like, I can't not wear sunscreen. And I
Yeah.
know sometimes you get to bring like one maybe luxury
Yeah.
item or something in the
Mhm.
past. But I was like, everyone should get sunscreen because
Yeah.
skin cancer is the most popular or
Yeah.
common. It's not that popular. I shouldn't say popular. Wrong
It's
word.
so,
But common.
so in right now.
So in, you guys. Popular cancer. If you want one, that's the one. No.
That's the good one.
Yeah, because you see people's like skin after they
Uh-huh.
leave, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh God,
No, I
So-
always thought that too. And I just assumed because this was just season like 2 or 3 that I was reading about, like old articles. So I assume they do something similar like that. Because it's like, yeah, you don't want it to be unhealthy.
Yeah,
would
exactly.
be
I mean,
awful.
there's things you should provide
Mhm.
people because exactly, just for health reasons. Megan, I think this is a great point. Cassidy also didn't send Carla off on the best note after their conversation. No,
Mhm.
because Carla was like, hey, we could do this. We could get rid of Jesse. Even though Jesse had that, idol. But Cassidy was very, obviously if your person you believed in was easily swayed by Sammy. Let's say me and Andy are on the island together. We're one of the island people. And I believe Sammy, and he says, Andy's coming for you. Andy's talking about you. And I'd be
Mhm.
like, what? I would be hurt because I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But you have to ultimately push that shit down and you can't show
Yeah.
it because that's all like jury management stuff.
Yeah. It's like you can't take it personal because eventually everyone's going to come for you. And it'd be easy for someone to be like, oh, I did say those things, but I didn't mean it. You're like, well, yeah, I want this person to believe that. So it's like
Mhm.
just believing it right away. Honestly, it's a total mindfuck. I would be lost.
I know. It's like you really do. And yeah, when women have their periods, I mean,
You
do
do
they
it in
provide
the lake. You just go in
stuff?
the ocean.
You
and
just know when it's coming.
and you just
out.
flush it out. You just push it out.
Hopefully they have they give you some Diva cups, some tampons, or
Mhm.
some period panties or something because
Mhm.
that's got to be. See, I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. And of course I enter. Yep. Ashley, you know how my show works. Of course you enter during the poop part of the live. There's
poop
always,
part.
poop floats with fats, gas content.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Okay. Renee he knows.
Yeah, that's good to know. I'm gonna have to do some studies, some testing.
Yeah. I'll have to do some poop studies. Jamie says Cochran got so sunburned on his season. They started to require them to wear it. Okay. Because in the past, I remember them getting very sunburned. So yes. I'm
maybe
glad that now they have to wear it.
Yeah, maybe that was just it's probably from a Reddit post. So I don't know when they did the sunscreen, but I know there's a booth at some point. Because in the early season they went to like Australia, which was nuts. Like they didn't even get, and then they were in like Africa. They didn't have clean water. They had to like boil their water. It was disgusting.
That well is relatively, that's new school Survivor, where
I've seen that.
You didn't have to clean your own water, get the amoebas out or whatever. But like Ethan's season, the hot soccer player with the curly hair, so cute. They were that was Africa, right?
Africa, yes. I just watched that one. I think it was season 3. That was so good.
And those were hard times. But then they also had, like, I remember they had like canned foods, so it wasn't always just rice or
they had all those cans that they could salvage, and they had and it seemed like they had rice. Everyone could get rice.
Yeah, so there's been, it's evolved through the years. ALS says, I pooed in the tub when I was little. I've done that. Yeah, in the tub. I remember my mom saying that. My mom took a picture of me and my sister standing in the tub screaming as it floated toward us.
Good to know. I'll have to be really careful next time I poop in the lake.
Yeah, just be careful. Make sure you got a good, clean diet. Ashley says, I didn't know Cass's name until Final 8, and I still thought of Cass with glasses. I forget what season. Oh, really? You didn't know? I knew Cass I loved her relationship with Carla. So when that went south, because Carla believed Sammy, I was so sad. Yes, they had to medevac Caleb with dehydration. He was in bad shape. I remember that. I think that was during a competition because Caleb was on BB16, Big Brother 16, and then he went on to do a couple seasons of Survivor. He was a weird stalker on Big Brother, but I think he might have redeemed his image on Survivor, but he didn't make it that far any of the times that he played. Bug bites, all kinds of things. Yes, season 3, Ethan. Oh yes, Andy, did you ever watch any of the seasons where they had the auctions?
I did see the auction, and I remember I think it was season 2, they did an auction, and they had like you bid for something, and it was like a cup of water, and so you'd bet like $800, or like, oh, you got river water. But like then when I saw they did it in season 3, or maybe it was season 4, they didn't have anything bad. It was only good. And I was like, that made me feel so much better, because I was like, these people are so hungry and you're just messing with them. And you're like,
because sometimes they'll get like crap, like water and a piece of bread. But then sometimes, like, I remember one season with Parvati, she got a bath. So she had to take a bath right there with people. And then they give them like cakes, pizza, beer,
I love that so much, because like you could tell the executives and producers were so proud of themselves. We're like, we're giving them €800, and now we're going to see them spend $400 for a cookie. Who would do that? And it's like, yeah, that is crazy. They're hungry. They sure are hungry, because you force them not to have food and you put them in the jungle.
They're dying.
They're dying here, and you're like, isn't it funny how much money they're throwing away? I'm like, they're just tired and hungry, man. Like, but then you see get some money for their family.
Right? But then you see some of the people they would wait till the end for like special advantages and stuff. So Survivor now, like this season and a couple seasons before, we have all these new, things like you have to say this word, and everyone who says this word when they find this advantage, then that they are going to have an idol, or they have to find these beads and then collect the beads, make bracelets for idols, so that they have different things.
That was my thing. I was like, if I was on the show, which I know I wouldn't be this smart, I'm like, if someone asks me for something, I'm never giving it to them. Just never.
Well, now, probably not this next season, but the season after, they're never going to be able to do that again. They'll have to come up with a different, because once the few seasons they film before this airs, they can do this stuff.
Oh,
but then now once people have seen it, this isn't a twist or a
then
advantage.
People kind of know what's happening, because it's it seems so, and it is like they talk about too, like they find an advantage and they just tell everybody right away. So it's like,
I know.
and I get that because it's like, you're like, fuck, but people need to take practice at like lying because a lot of them aren't they're not very good liars. So it's like, you need to get really good at coming up with stories and lying.
I wish Carla would have been better at lying when Cassidy did sit her down and say, did you want to vote me out? And she's like, no. And then Cassie's face was like,
yeah.
okay, I believe
Well, I
you.
mean, but she could fake cry, so that's good. Cry on demand is good. So that's points.
Yeah, at least that, but I needed her to be better in that situation. Like, I would never. Yeah. These men are trying to tear us apart. This is what they do in this game. You see this game. Like, I would be on my acting manipulation game. I would be like, this is what they want. Don't you want the audience to see two women come together and work together? We can do this, Cass. I believe in you. They're putting stuff in my head and they're putting stuff in your head because look, it was women. We're powerful. They're scared of us, just like in society.
Hold it together.
Smash the patriarchy, Cass. Like, I would be all on her shit. I'd be brushing her hair. I'd be rubbing her back. I would be, talking to her during her water poops, whatever I had to do.
Like, we got this. I know it's good to swear on a family member. People love that and they believe that.
Yep.
But my plan would be to pair up with an old man because they do not go against their word. You find a really old man, not like a 50-year-old, like an older man, like who's like very religious, like just there, just to like prove
there to pray.
There to prove to God that like they can do this. They're only doing it for God. So they can't lie. So you find an old man and you buddy up with the old man and he's got your back. So, and you have a friend too, which is nice. You get like a father figure. It's all worth it. And it's like you're a double team. I've seen that happening in the first few seasons where the young girl pairs up with the older man and they're like this power couple. I was like, we can't mess with them because that's 2 votes.
Yeah. I just love how you just explained it because it's also probably how a lot of Real Housewives look for husbands. Find an old guy, like religious, but with money, who's there because he doesn't need the money.
Yes.
Just,
just there for the experience. I want to be the experience. Because like
guy.
They do, and they're just so happy to be there. They're just like, oh, I found this little friend. It's kind of like my daughter or like my son. Or they're just like, and you can tell they're just so sweet and they wouldn't lie. So you can trust them. So it's like, you just know. Like
you do have those people in Survivor like that who are like, well, I didn't come here to lie. And you're like,
what are you doing, man? Like,
you better like start lying. Alex Stein Comedy, Andy's husband's in the chat saying Chell and I are playing Rocket Dog. Yeah, that's what I call it. Did you know I call it that, Andy? I thought that's what
Rocket Dog. I love it.
Because there used to be sandals called Rocket Dog, like shoes.
Oh,
do you remember those? Big foam?
They're so comfy.
So comfy.
I love Rocket Dog.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
find an older guy with a heart condition. Anything, something going on, like 90-year-old.
And Gabler, he was a heart valve specialist.
Right? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that was so cool. I was like, I have a heart valve.
Yeah, Andy does have a heart valve.
Yeah, so I liked him for that. But then I just...
Is that what we would hear sometimes, Andy?
Yeah,
remind
me. Yep. Click, 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 click. I got a heart valve, and he's just almost too good of a person. Like, he's just too good of a person. Like, he's a doctor, and he's like, when he was doing that challenge where they had to hold down the pole, and he's like, this next 10 minutes is for this guy, and he had like,
I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah, you remember it better.
No, I was gonna say the exact same thing you were saying. Was he was like, and this is for all the guys that fought for the country, and this guy, this is for the babies who don't have, hair, and we want to get them some hair, and this is for the dogs whose tails fell off, and you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, you would give like a specific year to be like, it was 1987, and I was out in the woods with this guy, and he ran out, and he stuck his neck out for this country, and he only had 2 pairs of shoes, and he gave me 3 shoes, which was weird. He just had 1, and I had an extra, but he did it for his country. And you're just like, wow, and like, he's just too good of a person. Where it's like, I'm just doing this for the cash, man. Like, just like,
Everyone else is just like, hey, but I will say, so after Carla leaves, it was just like, I was like, no, Carla, but she tried, she fought up until the end and tried to flip it. She did not have that idol. I think if Jesse didn't have the idol, there definitely would have been a better chance for her, an argument for her to stay. But it was between her and Jesse because they're the biggest threat. So then she goes to jury. She comes back with a killer jury look. Did you see her first
braids?
Oh my God. I was like, Carla is serving. Look at her.
And the glass is so cute.
She's everything. So beautiful. Carla, be my best friend. Anyways, okay. So then we get to when Jesse has to go. So then we, go back. We have another competition. Cass wins. Huge win. That's the win that Cass. Yep, Cass did.
Yep.
And then
up with these, by the way.
I know. And then like that one's been on quite a few seasons.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Where you have to go through the thing.
Go through the thing and it's so high. I'm just like, I think they want it to take a long time because they can film and edit it out, but I'm just thinking of like the shooting days. I'm just like, that's a long time to put
right? Which is probably why they cut out auction and all this other fun stuff. Or maybe it just got old because we say we missed the auction, but had the auction went every season, we might be saying,
so bring it back.
I'm so sick of the auction. So maybe they take a break and bring it back. Yeah.
I do like it because it does. I'm stressed out the entire time. Just the entire time.
It's super stressful. So then obviously Cass, she's not an idiot. So she's like, hey, I get to pick who I want to sit next to and then who goes to fire. Now we said Jesse, he makes that final attempt to be like, well, this would be a resume builder. And she was like, nice try, Jesse. But
I don't need it.
So then Jesse goes and practices and Gabler, he's just one of those guys where he could annoy you. Like if you're out on the island, I'm going to be annoyed for sure. Him and maybe even Cody, because Cody real positive, and when you're down and out, let's say you haven't water pooped in like a week or something, you're struggling, you're hungry. And there's Cody like LIVIN, let's get it. And then there's, Gabler's just like, and then like you're saying in 1962, I saved 12 cats from getting sat on by, and you're like, okay, thank you, Gabler.
Thank you, Gabler.
But I could see that Gabler, right away, he's like, I'll do fire. I'd love to do fire. Love to prove myself, guys. Just, hey. And I'm thinking, he's so quick to just believe in himself.
Earlier season 2, he was like, guys, you can vote me off. Let's just get everyone to vote me off. Like, it's like,
just Gabler, the stuff he says. So, Jesse's like, that was his one weak part. I mean, obviously he didn't win challenges, but he didn't need to. But his weakness was that he wasn't good at fire. And so and then him and Gabler went head to head.
Gabler was just so good though. He didn't falter at all. It would have been hard for anyone to beat him.
Yes, he was one of those
the fire every day because like someone makes the fire every day, right? Or I
guess you have the people who like tend to be more fire. So future Survivor contestants, even if you're not the fire maker, hang out with the fire maker, but don't let on that you're really good at it because then people tend to get rid of you.
Be like, boom, bitches, I'm a forest ranger. Like I lied. I told you I was a school teacher.
Have they ever had a forest ranger? They had to
probably. They've had everything.
They've had like Eagle Scouts and stuff.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah. Hi, Elaine. What's that saying? One foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. Yeah, ALS. That is the kind of player you want to play with. And person you want to marry. So they go into the fire making challenge. Obviously, he kills it. Gabler does. And Jesse, this game's over. And it was the whole jury's crying. I started crying. Did you cry? It's okay if you didn't.
I didn't. Oh!
It was so quick. I didn't know.
No, because I just remember not crying, but it was sad.
It was sad. Yeah. I always tell myself I'm not going to cry, but then I just look at Jesse and that's the thing with Survivor. I'm always like, damn it, Survivor. The stories, the backstories, and his backstory of coming from where he came from and building this life and this family and being so invested and having his little kids go win it, Dad. And then he feels this disappointment, even though he did great, Andy. So I'm sitting there crying in my bed, and I said, your wife's gonna be so proud of you, Jesse, and your kids are gonna be so proud of you. And if you were my husband, I'd be so proud of you. And then I'm crying, and then Carla's crying, and then so I didn't feel as bad. The jury's crying, but I felt for Jesse because he put everything into this game. He took big risks, and Survivor ultimately it's outwit, outlast, outplay. He was the epitome of that at this point, and I was just like,
he should have and could have won. Like, you're right, because I think like Gabler didn't really need to win and didn't really, I mean, he wanted to win bad. Obviously, I think everyone, if you make it last that long, you want to win. But I agree that Jesse wanted it a lot more.
Yeah.
And felt like he needed it. But it's like, you're gonna go back to your family, you are a hero, and like America loves you. Like, he played a good game. So
yeah. Oh, you were watching my rando chats, Donna, so you didn't cry. You made me laugh too much. Yeah, when it was airing for some people, I was on my other vlog channel just doing random chats where I just talk. But yeah, so this was just, it was like, and then Cassie's like, hey, big guy, sorry about that. And he's like, and then ultimately hugs her. I don't know if I'd be able to be that good of a sport. I mean, would you, Andy? Would you be like?
I probably. Yeah, I'm very conscious of when I'm on camera. So I'm just like, I don't want this to be a clip. Fine, I'll hug you.
Here you go. Here's a hug, but also screw you. But Jesse will be invited back for another season. I feel like
true.
He will. I feel like Carla might be invited back. I would invite Carla back in a second. Cassidy, I think, if she doesn't piss off production or something, she'll be back.
But I think it's not even like to create drama off stage. I still think off stage or like behind the scenes or whatever. I still think that's good because like they know that you create drama. So it's like they do want people who like aren't afraid to speak their mind.
Yeah, exactly. So then we go to the final tribal and the questioning. I mean, again, I wish Cassidy had something to come back with when they questioned her, but like you said, Andy, why didn't they question Gabler and be like, well, but Gabler was in that alliance he kept bringing up, and that alliance, I think they think it was bigger than it really was on the show, because it wasn't that big of a deal to me. Was it? So
I mean, for me, I felt Owen was going to win only because as a viewer, I was like, he's had to play so good to stay in. He has been on. So I'm like, I thought they would value like, wow, we thought you were going to be gone so many times. And so did he. So I just thought that would somehow come out. But I think it was just still kind of him just kind of like getting lucky that things got turned another way because people wanted to take out the other players. But like, that's still a good strategy to like not be too good. It's so weird. It's like, you got to be like the perfect bitch. Like, you gotta be a bad bitch, but like you also gotta be like a good bitch. It's like you gotta it's I don't know.
It's because you don't want to be too good like Jesse or like Carla, where then that makes you a target.
You gotta not be a target, but you also that's what I do appreciate about the game. Like it does combine the physical and the social and all that, and it's like it's so entertaining because there's backstabbing. I definitely it's good entertainment with their lives. Oh my gosh.
I know. I feel like a little bit sometimes. I love the backstory, but I think sometimes it's like a lot where we got it. You know what I mean? Like when they had Gabler up there giving that speech for, in that episode where they was holding the pole or whatever.
Yeah.
That was just like a lot. So it's just a lot. That's all I can say. It's a lot. But Owen, I agree. I think he was just on the wrong side of every vote.
Yeah.
Strategically, no, but he did. So if it's outwit, outlast, outplay, he definitely didn't outwit per se.
Yeah.
But he did you know, when
He
people
outplayed.
approached him with
Yeah.
things, he knew he had to go with it. Outplay. He won a lot of competitions.
That kept him in it. I forgot about that. If he
Yep.
hadn't won those, he would have been gone a long time ago. Because he won 3,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And Outlast, I mean, someone who should have been gone with not a lot of ties, because they were kind of talking about who they're tied to. I mean, he did Outlast. And then Gabler talking about his alliance. What was that called, you guys? We put it in the chat. Yeah, Owen was
Ride or Die?
strong. He was winning a lot. Yeah, the Ride or Die, I think it was. Something like that.
Yeah.
And so Gabler was able to communicate, like, I worked with this person, I did this, I planted these things. Nobody questioned it because
No one questioned it.
obviously they felt like that's how it was. Now with Cassidy, with that Ryan thing, Cassidy, I do remember Cassidy wanted Ryan gone, but I think, you know, with Cassidy, that was another situation where because he wanted her. So she made it almost too personal. You know, which I know is easy for me to say, you know, having never played, I would make it personal too, but you almost have to, you know, you have to kind of separate that because maybe there's someone even that you should be going after more. So I think she got fixated on Ryan and then she got fixated on Carla. That's just kind of how I saw it. But Cassidy killed it with outplaying. She won comps. I didn't think she would win. She's like tiny and she was killing these dudes and stuff, you know? And she's smart. But I really think the downfall was when Carla believed Sammy and that started going downhill and the trust and then maybe paranoia of that. Yeah. And also I think Owen and Cass, they didn't manage the threat of Gabler as well as they should have. Because obviously he was a bigger threat than they thought. And maybe they just weren't paying attention to him because again, you know, he's the second oldest winner, right? In Survivor history.
Yeah, he's 51, right?
But he's like so young. It's crazy that's that's crazy. But that's like history making. But maybe that has to do a little with ageism too, where they saw this old dude. They treated him kind of as a joke. That's what I didn't like about Sammy, because he was in a competition with playing teamed up with Gabler, and he was very like short with him and dismissive, and I just thought it was a bad look, right?
I remember there was one where they had to tilt the table and the ball was like going and Gabler was one side. And I think it was Sammy was the other side or it was something like that. And Gabler kept messing up and they couldn't get the ball in and they just blamed it all. He just kind of blamed it all on Gabler.
Right. I mean so it could be, you know, you got all these things that come into play because they're in play in our society, misogyny, racism, ageism, all, you know, sexism, same, you know, but, so yeah, I think maybe Cassie got a little bit fixated with who was kind of attacking her on a personal level. And yeah, that was Johnny Fairplay who lied about his grandma dying. He was it was ridiculous when she was alive.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So ultimately, I mean, they had to give their final pleas, their final answer questions from the jury. And the jury, like you said, Andy, I mean, when you watched them, you could kind of tell they were feeling Gabler.
Yeah.
And he was making them laugh.
They were smiling and just like, okay.
And then they come back with the vote and they are dumbfounded.
Yes.
One vote. James voted Cassidy. Everyone else voted Gabler. Andy, were you surprised?
I was so surprised because I was not on the right wavelength where I still was like, Owen's got this. Which I was just like, no, he's so sweet. So I was very surprised. I was floored. I was like, Gabler? Like that name is the name that you would shout in a movie when you're like, what's Gabler?
Damn it. It's like O'Doyle rules, like those O'Doyles from the Adam Sandler movies. Like O'Doyle.
Gabler. Is that his first name?
Gabler? Actually, it's Gabler.
Oh, Gablerson.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Gabler McGablerson, related to the lady in Little Falls.
Yes, Gabler.
Yep.
Gabler, Karen, Bozer Gabler.
Bozer Gabler.
Bozer Gabler.
Yeah, I thought Owen had a good story. I don't know.
Yes.
What was Cass's story?
Good question.
Like, because we have
What was it?
Gabler and he's a vet and he's a heart specialist. What is he called?
Heart valve specialist?
Yeah, heart valve specialist.
Yeah, I think he was like, maybe even a surgeon or something, or does he make them? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a surgeon. I don't know. And then obviously he did pretty well for himself. And then you have Owen, who talked a lot about, being adopted and never feeling like he really fit in.
Mhm.
And also in Survivor, he felt he didn't fit in. But Cass,
Yes,
what was
I
Cass's?
felt that. I felt that with Owen.
Yeah, Cass's sister passed away. Now I remember. So she was playing for her. They had she has 2 brothers and a sister, and the sister passed, I think, a year ago or so. So that's really sad. So kind of playing
they just made
for her.
Yeah, they didn't really talk about that a lot.
And I don't know what she does. And is she married? Because I thought I saw a ring.
Oh.
Because I was like, her and Owen would be such a cute couple because they already get along. But I don't know their status.
I don't know either. Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think the answers definitely lacked from both Owen. Owen at least was honest when he was like, I didn't have any big moves.
I did.
I survived. And I won and I did what I had to do to advance in the game, but I wasn't connected to any big alliances really. I had some people I was able to work with, but nothing was going my way. And then Cass, I think she probably thought she had, more reasons and plays. I just wish she could have articulated that better.
Yes. Yep.
Because and you can't say, I mean, they all won equal amount of, immunity
they did. They each
challenges.
had won 3.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard. Yeah. Owen was like, I sucked. Just happy to be here.
I wonder if there were a few people though who were like kind of on the fence and just happened to be more, or if if the jury was like, no, it's definitely Gabler.
I think there's probably, I'm going to say, I think there's probably a little bitterness with Cass. She didn't leave things well with Carla. Carla's probably going to vote for her.
Vote.
And then
Owen wasn't really, I guess, super close with anyone. I mean, he was close with Gabler, I feel like.
Yeah, and close with Cass, but she's up there. And then
maybe that's it. They were...
And then Jesse, obviously, Cass took him out, which normally you would think, what you should think is whoever took out the biggest player is the one that, but you could argue that Gabler took out the biggest player because he went to fire with him.
The fire, you're right.
So Cass, put him in that situation, but ultimately Gabler did. So probably what lost it for Cass, unfortunately, is not going to fire against Jesse.
Yeah, she didn't have a chance without it. I don't think she had a chance if, so it would have been her versus Jesse. Is that what you're saying? So then it would have been Jesse, Gabler, and Owen. Then, I feel like Jesse would have beat Gabler.
Oh, yeah. I think if it was Jesse, Owen, and Gabler, Jesse would have won.
Okay.
I feel like because he had so many instances where he could say, same with Carla. Let's say Carla had lasted, where she could say, I influenced this vote, or I did this strategically, or I,
Everyone's like, okay, you did this. So Cassie wins fire. She's up there and she's like, you just saw me. I don't think that would have been enough for her even to win fire to beat Gabler. I just don't.
Really?
I mean, I get the jury be like, well, she made a better fire, but maybe you've seen it work in the past where it ended up counting. Because I think it was more of a personality thing that I don't think people maybe just didn't really like her.
Maybe. I mean, you are out there with people for how long, and that does play a big part of it.
Yeah.
If someone likes you or not, and that could play into, where she's talking about misogyny. So behavior that's acceptable for men is not acceptable for women, because the minute you're not smiling out on Poop Island, you're a bitch. So maybe we don't know.
She was the only woman, one the last 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But she could have worked with Cass. She could have made that work. I know Cass is the one that or she worked Carla, I mean. But I know Carla was the one that originally messed that up. I realize, even though she's my favorite, I do think that was
okay. The truth comes out.
Fault in this game was believing that stupid lie from Sammy, and pitting the 2 women against each other. I hate that. I hate that for the game.
Do women pit men against each other? I bet they have.
Well, there's been good seasons of Survivor with Parvati and the Black Widow, where they have teamed up women and taken out the men and made the men look dumb. I mean, that's obviously my favorite.
Sounds good to me.
Right? Yeah, so probably she should. I mean, it's hard though to think she won that final immunity. Why should she have to go
Yeah.
do fire?
That's so
But
tough to win the fight. And I think it's
Yeah.
like I've seen online people say like the jury doesn't get to see them win the challenges. So it's like they don't really get to see people.
yeah.
So they don't feel it. They're just like, oh, you won that. So it's like I get that. So I guess the fire is a chance for them to see them doing it. But I almost think it should be a more physical challenge than making a fire. It should be something, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's then
It's
that
like
might
one
put
skill, which I know earlier was like, learn to make a fire. But I'm like, it's just one. It should be mind and matter. And like, I don't know. I liked the questions that did kind of favor the women in some ways where they had to, who knew the other members better when they did questions about them. And that's not finally meant some of the seasons, the challenges were really tough and were geared towards men winning. They were so hard and so physical. You have two people who both have to carry the same weight of thing and we're built differently. But like, oh, finally a challenger's like, do you know this? They show you a picture. Whose daughter is this? And you're like, fuck. Like, what's her name? And you're like, oh God, she talks about her every day. And you're like,
she has a daughter. The men are like, she's got a daughter.
Yeah, it's like, I don't give a shit. That's what happened in like those first couple seasons. We're like, I'm fucking screwed. I don't know any of these people. So it was like the women were like, I fucking know everyone's middle names. I know where they're from. I know their first loves. I know all their kids' names.
I know when they got their period for the first time.
We're all synced up. It's May
June
6th,
1994. It was great. Horrible. Jackie, good point. Queen Sandra won 3 times pitting everyone against each other. She was so good at that. And Sandra was not a compy at all, but Sandra was so good at the game socially like
That's
that
cool.
and pitting people against each other that she did that. So Gabler wins. This is kind of, I found these on Twitter. So this is him with his family. And then he breaks it to everyone, Andy, that he's donating all of the money.
Did he? Okay, he broke it live on TV. Is there footage of him breaking it to his family?
Right? Because if I was his wife, I would be pissed. I could see half.
Yeah, I could see half. I mean, I can't. That's just like $100,000. Well, maybe because taxes, anyways. If you're donating it, maybe it counts as a deduction, and
you
might
get a little benefit.
Maybe we're just thinking about it. Like,
I know I'm so selfish at that. I think it's wonderful.
I think it is wonderful.
It's like it's also like so Gabler, where
yes, it's so like I can't even imagine. I can't imagine myself doing that. And who was it? Was it Ryan?
We can't imagine ourselves giving that much, you guys.
I can't imagine having it. Can you imagine getting it and then being like, do you know the movie Ghosts, where Whoopi Goldberg gets a check for like $4 million from Patrick Swayze, and she has to go take it, she has to give it to the church, and she's just like shaking, like that would be me donating it to someone. Here you go, here's your check. Just shaking the check.
Oh my God. That was such a good scene. Yes.
It was the best. It was so good. I think about it every day after I think about Whitewater River rafting.
Andy's Whitewater River rafting, Whoopi Goldberg giving the check, and water
to the charity. Oh my gosh. No. Way to go. Oh my gosh. What's wrong with you?
So here he is with his parents. And then some people were saying, like, oh, he's a fraud, but it looks like
I don't think he's a fraud.
The disabled, I don't either. I mean, I think people just, if they don't like them, they don't like them. Disabled American veterans were saying, they replied to this saying, DAV salutes you for your generosity in support of the men and women who have served and sacrificed for our nation. We were touched to learn you had dedicated your earnings from Survivor to veterans in need. Congratulations on your victory for paying it forward. So I don't know if that's the organization he was donating to, but it was for veterans.
For veterans. Yeah. Which I think is great too, but it's also like, it's almost like you could start your own charity too. And then, and then have more control over where it's going. I don't know. I still think it's great to give to charities, but you definitely do your research because not all of them spend the money in the right ways.
That's what I was thinking. So skeptical because I'm like, could be like a Susan G. Komen thing where it's like,
I mean, and charities are great, but it's also like, there's so many administration costs that it goes to and things like, but we can go on Charity Navigator and actually see their ranking. It's probably an A+.
Yeah. Would you guys remember? Put it in the chat if you remember the exact name of the organization, if it is the DAV or if it's something else. Jackie says Gabler spoke in his cameos that he was going to donate the money. Oh,
that's great. I mean, it is great. And it's just like, it's all any shade I'm blowing is just that I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I'm not that good of a person. So I'm just like, maybe he shouldn't have done them. Like, I'm glad it's his money. He
must have it well, like he must be well off. And that's what people
if he's a doctor of some sort, he must be doing okay. But it's okay. Let's see this. The DAV, they've got a 4-star charity, 100% rating.
Yeah. So if it was them, then that's a good one. Donna said, "Look up Susan G. Coleman, see what they." Donna said, "I felt Jesse die inside." Right when he heard that, you could just you knew it. You knew it.
Like, and when he first said, like, I'm gonna do something unprecedented, I'm gonna do something with money, I thought he was gonna like give it to all the other cast members or like give it to Jesse or like give it to like,
I think that's what they thought because they all perked up and they're like,
I do too.
Are we gonna all get some? And then he's like,
yeah,
I'm giving it to charity, and they're like, yay.
It's like charity is so great. It's such a great thing to do, but it's like so many people are struggling that like are just like, oh please, I could just wish I could buy things for my children and pay for my house rent and just do this. But I think they'll all be good. I think they get some money from being on the show, right? They get like 15 grand or 20 grand or something.
Yeah, I mean they get money. They get, they probably get their daily SAG rate, and then they get a bonus if they make it to jury, stuff like that. Jackie says Tunnel to Towers. Ooh, Andy, can you look that one up?
Oh yes.
Andy has also become the researcher for the Survivor breakdown.
Oh, that one has a 98%, which is still pretty good. It's not 100, but it's 98. That's
nice.
That's really good.
Okay,
that's really good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, so that let's see, is this another one? Oh, here's Jesse at his little finale party. Get that money, baby. So cute. And his little fam and friends.
This is so cute.
I know. So overall, I mean, what did you think of this season, Andy? I know that
I loved it because like I watched seasons kind of off and on. It had been maybe 10 years since I watched it, and then I watched the beginning, so it was cool to see how it had changed. I liked all the little auditions and like the twists and turns, and I'm always drawn just to like relationships and seeing them played out and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm in it for friendships and for the backstories, for the friendships.
We're in it for the emotional roller coaster.
The emotional roller coaster. That's what I like. I just like in I think it was the first season where the woman said, "I'm going to spit on your grave" or whatever.
Was that Sue?
Sue, and then I remembered it. I remembered that scene, but as a kid, I didn't fully get what it was, but it was because she had become best friends with that other girl, like best friends. And she was like, I would die for her. I love her so much. And then that she started drifting away. So she felt betrayed by her. And so she was so mad at this woman she used to love that she hated her. So I think that was kind of like a Carla Cassie thing where like they care to each other so much, and then something happened, and then it just changes to this like heat. And I'm like, that to me is so sad. Like I cried for that. Just like you just being like, oh, their friendship. So it's like, I just want to see people become like really good friends. Like people going in and they do it just for like the experience. Like I just want the money. Like I don't really care about the friendships. These are all fake. But like when people make like really good friends on the show, I'm just like, oh my God, it's the best.
I know this show always finds a way to make me cry, but I like those two, but I also like the players like Sandra. Have you seen any of Sandra's seasons, Andy? I'll get you.
Yeah, give me the list of what to watch. But honestly, I'm planning on just watching them all. I'm on season 4 now. I'm just gonna work my way up.
Just seriously,
I want to know who they are. Oh, and if you watch on Paramount Plus, the commercials, you can fast forward through them. So if you're on your computer,
on Paramount. Oh, I was
on
watching
your
my
computer.
TV.
Sorry,
okay,
yeah,
because I get
it lets you.
Isn't it funny
forward.
how I get pissed now if I have to watch a commercial? I'm like, who did this? Why?
Who did this to me?
Why is this a thing? And considering like we've all been commercial actors, I'm just like,
Yeah, that's true. But what sucks about Paramount Plus is there's like 3 commercials, and I was watching during the election time, so it was like abortion and rape being mentioned like literally every 15 minutes for the ad. Like, this person doesn't believe in abortion. And I'm just like, can you please stop talking about abortion? Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to watch Survivor. Okay.
I just want to watch Survivor. Like,
Oh my
again,
God.
it's an important topic, but it's very triggering.
I wish I had the clip, Andy. We did a birthday stream for my mom in November, and my little nephew Frankie, he so they played those political ads to kids. So my sister-in-law and her cousin were like, yeah, that when you're watching, like when her cousin's daughter, who's like 3, watching Peppa Pig or whatever, they're playing these political ads nonstop. So Frankie came up on the live stream, and I knew that he had memorized this ad for a politician in the Midwest where he lives.
No.
Okay. And so I had him do the thing, and he was like, Ron Johnson hates America. He flicks off the camera and he takes America's jobs. Like, and I was like, who the heck's Ron Johnson? And it's a local politician that he hears these commercials. So he doesn't know what he's saying. He's 5. So then he comes up on my mom and I's stream, and they like to say hi, him and Lucy, the little 8-year-old niece. And he all of a sudden we had him do the commercial, and he's like, Juan Johnson. And all of a sudden he goes, let's just say Tim Matheson, abortion.
Yes,
because
totally.
And he doesn't know what those words mean, but that's what he hears because
constantly.
He watches these YouTube videos about like Minecraft. Is that the thing where you build?
Yeah, Minecraft.
He just likes to see. I'm so done with these video game stuff. I have to go to Andy. Andy got me. We were Pokemon Going. Remember when that was a thing? You had me in the street, and I was having a blast. I was like, I'm not into Pokemon, but
yeah, you are.
Andy was like, you will be. This is fun, and
it was so fun.
Right. So he likes to watch. It's very strange. He likes to, well, not strange. It's different. It's kids. When they stayed with us for a month over the summer, he would always be like, I don't want to say her name, but Alexis, because we have an Alexis, but
gotcha. I know what you mean.
Whenever I say it on here, people, it's like, Joleen, you triggered mine.
He
would say, play Minecraft videos by Wobby and Steve or something. So there's 2 guys that just play it or tell you secrets because he doesn't really know how to play it. He watches that. So in those are tons of political ads. So and Roblox too. And so he just goes, Tim Matheson, abortions.
Abortion.
And it was the funniest thing because it was so shocking. I was like,
what? No, it's disturbing. Like, that's why there's a lot of reasons why we need to figure out and codify Roe v. Wade or whatever, but like, I don't want to hear about it in political ads.
Right. I mean,
let's
especially
switch over
putting in like
the roads or something.
Yeah, because the kids aren't voting, but they probably think, their parents are watching. But it's like,
yeah, they must be. They must think their parents are watching. Or maybe the parents go, hey, kid, who should I vote for?
And they'll go, Tim Matheson, abortion.
Okay.
I was just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I think coming back to this season,
yes,
I think that it was a good season. I definitely thought it was a good season. I thought we had some really great players. Obviously, we had good backstories. There's things I miss about, Survivor, but it is a old Survivor, I guess, old school Survivor. But it, it's more fast paced, and we have different advantage things. The bracelet thing was fun. The beads.
Yeah,
but again, they can only do that for so long.
That was fun. I wanted to do that. Yeah, I was like, what a cool thing.
You have to be really creative on how you're going to get people to give you the beads, and then that'll be for a couple seasons, and then they'll have to ditch it because everyone will know, like, you're trying to get she's trying to get an idol. Have you guys seen it? Because they all watch it.
And I just remembered, okay, if anyone goes on Survivor and you ever see a camera staying in the exact same place pointed towards a tree, just go to the tree between the camera and see what they're looking at. Because right. That thing was right there. And I'm like, the camera's there for a reason. So if you see a camera, that's what I would be thinking, like, go to what the camera is looking at. Because one of the cameras is looking at the thing.
Right. Remember when Cody had it up against the tree? And he was like, yeah, I'm just going to stretch over here for a little bit.
Oh my God. That was so funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 29-day season. That's very fast paced.
That is. It used to be, was it like 43 in the first season, 2 or 42?
They were long.
I mean, those people were like 39.
Dying.
Yeah, it was
We were
bad.
wondering if they're going to be okay. So yeah, so that's our little Survivor breakdown.
Mhm.
Oh, you thought Gabler was the anesthesiologist, Annie? It's something with heart valves.
He was a heart valve specialist, but maybe he did that too. He talked about the different people they saved with heart surgeries. So maybe he was the anesthesiologist.
Let's look.
And maybe it was
What's his first name?
anesthesiologist for people who have heart valves, which I have had special. I've had many surgeries, and there's a special anesthesiologist you have
Oh, really? When you get a heart valve?
when you have a surgery, because they have to extra monitor you when you're getting the anesthesia.
How long do heart valves last? You have to like get it upgraded or
They keep telling me it's going to last forever. And I'm like, well, how long is that? Well, however long it lasts.
you're like, oh, thanks.
But I have heard they look at it and they're like, it's good. So most people get them when they're older. So I've had mine since I was 9. I'm 35. That's like,
You're only 35, Andy. You're so young.
I'm only 35.
You're just my little baby friend.
Yeah, I'm.
But you've had the same heart valve since you were 9?
Yep. So they say it should last for yeah. But I mean, people get them replaced and stuff too. Most people who get them are in their 70s, 80s, 60s. So it's like, but yeah,
Yeah.
they're good.
That's our Andy.
Yep, got my heart valve. And I recommend pacemakers for anyone who's thinking of getting one. They're pretty cool.
Oh, what do they do again?
I have one that just keeps my heart beating at 70 beats per minute. And then it'll like give me like, it can sense when I'm standing up and it'll give me an extra kick to be like, help me, like going upstairs and stuff. It'll make my heart beat faster. Dude, they're dope. And then if my heart beats too fast, it'll just give me a fun little shock and get my heart going back.
Andy's a superhero.
I'm just letting you guys know, if everyone thinks pacemakers are like, oh no, it's the end of the world. It's like, no, this thing is gonna save your life forever, and you don't have to stress. I don't have anxiety anymore because I'm like, oh, what if my heart stops? Got it.
That's amazing. Remember when you were doing Last Comic Standing and it was like all that anxiety?
I was so afraid I was gonna die.
Blockers or something?
I was on beta blockers, yeah, and I was on all my I had to take anxiety. While I was on the show, I literally thought I was gonna die because I was so nervous. But if I would have had this puppy in there, I would have been like, all right, let's go.
I mean, I was nervous for you in the audience. I had a dream last night that I had to do a set on Letterman.
Oh my God.
And I wasn't prepared.
No.
Yes. And I didn't get good sleep because I woke up and I was just like,
so scary.
And then I didn't do well. But it was, you know how when you're in the dream, it's like you're experiencing it, but all of a sudden cut to after the set. But you know you didn't do well.
Ugh,
and I'm like,
and
I'm walking around going, but Letterman isn't even on anymore. But I was really excited. And then I remember just saying, well, at least it's a credit. I can play at bigger clubs because it's a credit, even if I did bad.
You're still giving yourself the pep talk. At least it's a credit.
You know,
no, I feel
crazy.
You.
Donna says she needs a pacemaker.
Seriously, call your doctor.
Call your doctor.
Probably don't need one. Most people don't need them. I needed one because I needed one. Most people don't. I don't want to make people go and just buy one for fun.
Andy, you're going to become a pacemaker influencer.
Seriously, but it's a really easy surgery. It's like same day. They just plop it in, like they do a little cut. Plop. You're like you're under, but like you kind of remember it.
Like
not really. No, you don't.
You're there. You're like, what are you guys doing?
And they shove the wires into your heart, and then then you're good. Then you just can't lift your arm for a couple of weeks, and you're good.
Dude, you're like Iron Man. That's awesome.
Totally. Got a heart pacemaker.
Hell yeah. Team Pacemaker. If there's any pacemaker companies, Andy is a pacemaker influencer. She
there we
has
go.
a media kit and she is a very high price and she's worth every dime. Aneurysm and catheter heart valve specialist. Oh, that sounds fancy. That sounds fancy.
Yes.
He's not a doctor. Okay.
He's not a doctor.
Well, okay. So he's a specialist.
He's a medical specialist.
He's a territory manager for heart valve company. Oh, that's why he's got all that money. Because you know when they work in like the business side of it or
That's cool.
Ooh, pacemaker funsies. One last question. Not to do with Survivor. Are you watching Yellowstone? I'm not. Everyone says you should.
No, everyone is. Sorry.
Is your mom watching? I feel like everyone's mom is watching it.
Everyone's mom. My mom loves it.
Okay, we got to get your mom on to tell us what is going on. What's the big...
I mean, she watched it, but she's on her phone when she watches TV, so I don't know if she's watching television or not. She's playing Bejeweled, so I don't know what she knows, but she loves it.
Does she play Bejeweled? I used to play
She does.
Bejeweled.
I did too. It took over my life, so I'm done. But she loves it.
Right now,
But
I
she-
only play. What are my games? Sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say she doesn't put money into it, so she can really only play like 5 games. She's not very good.
Well, seriously, I have games. I play Covet Fashion, Andy.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Tell me if this would interest you. I think I already know the answer, but you get these women and you get these challenges, right?
Okay.
So it's on your screen, and then
Okay.
you like click on this. So this is a decorate yourself, and it's a winter 2022 challenge. And if this year's holiday plans call for center of attention type fits, for Love and Lemon's holiday collection has the mini, maxi, or midi dress, you'll be sure to turn heads in this season with
This is the
dramatic
game.
silhouettes. Yeah. So they basically then tell you style with one of like these items, and you have to. So they'll say style a wildly chic look with Covet brand for Love and Lemons.
And you get points for like.
Yes, you style them. Or like the daily today is a little easier to understand. It's a balloon ballet. Okay. And you'll get $500 Covet cash for the dailies. So you want to do your dailies. Okay. And then you can buy more clothing. So you style. So it's her best visions come to her while she's asleep. And last night's dream was no exception. During her slumber, she envisioned a ballet production filled with balloons, an idea that has her floating with excitement. When she awakes, style an airy look for this dreamy dancer who's eager to transform her inspiration into reality. And then you enter to the style look. Here, let me see. Okay.
And then you put clothes on them.
Yeah. So then you have a naked gal.
Is this while you still haven't like showered or put on your own clothes, and you're just like you're still in bed and you're like you haven't done anything
before I go to sleep?
Before
I'll
bed
just style. Yeah, before bed I style, or I'll wake up and style some of the ladies, and then you just like put different dresses, but they all cost money,
Oh, like, and you kind of pick like what
and you can use like your Covet cash, but they also are like, well, but if you pay your real cash, you can get these bigger things. So that's how they try to get you. So try not to spend your real money.
I mean, I do that like in Pokemon. You can kind of pick like what outfit like your character
That's
wears.
A cute outfit. You look like Avril Lavigne.
I mean, look at this jacket. Like,
oh, it's like a happy.
Yeah. And then like I got my boots on. Can't really see. And then like that.
Oh, they're like baby Uggs.
The little hat. Yep. And I got the little, you can't really see it. So I will pay real money to buy outfits.
Oh, I've paid real money too. So I'm not going to say I didn't.
Look at this coat. It's so cute.
Oh my God. I would love to be able to wear
like
a
little
cropped
spikes
coat.
on the side. I know. I want it so bad.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, yes. No, I don't play that game. I don't have time with Pokemon Go. I play Pokemon Go.
Carol, your daughter has Marfan syndrome.
Oh my gosh, I have Marfan syndrome. That's so cool.
Shut up, Carol. That's
reach out if you want resources and community.
Yes,
you probably already do. But
we
like
get excited.
Yeah,
Andy's a part of all the Marfan. You perform at the conferences for Marfan.
Yeah, the national conferences. I didn't do it this year, but I've done it in the past. And there's
Marfan
like
peeps
team
are the
groups
best.
and yeah, there's a really great community, great charity. I would have donated some money to the Marfan Foundation for sure. Not all of it, but some of it.
Well, you always raise money every year for we do a fundraiser.
And, Yeah, no, it's fun.
Carol, cool. Shout out to your daughter. Shout out to your granddaughter. We love it. Andy has been like pivotal, like amazing in just like awareness and also being on TV and stuff and having young kids see you and be like, wow, we're seeing someone who has Marfan syndrome like me. Because most people probably, before I knew you, I didn't know what Marfan syndrome was.
Well, I did after Last Comic Standing. So in 2015, that's when I started being vocal about it because I realized I could, like, people were watching the show and they were like, oh my gosh, like my kids, like moms were telling me like my daughter like was watching you, my son was watching you, and they think it's so cool because they're so sad because like they can't play sports and they can't do this, but like they saw you. And I was like, oh my God, because I used to be more private about it, and then now, yeah, because I was like, oh, you can like help people if you're vulnerable and open. So
yeah, and then I was like, let's do a podcast. And talk all about it. So thank you so much, Andy, for joining. We'll close down together. We'll do our little goodbye together, but let's follow her on Mastodon. What is it,
Mastodon.world /@ Andy Erikson.
Let me find your YouTube channel too. I'm going to grab it real quick and drop it in the live chat. So, because I think you have quite a bit of subscribers too.
I think I have a couple, maybe 1,000.
Yeah, more than that, Andy. Oh, and you have, I mean, you can find Andy's full comedy special on Dry Bar. That's hilarious. Yeah. So let me drop that too if you want to see some of Andy's comedy. And then hopefully her and I, we were in Minneapolis together before the pandemic, and we did a week of shows at Acme, and it was so amazing because Andy and I, we love going back to Minnesota. I'm doing
good crowds.
And your family is like my favorite. And they were like, what did I remember you country? They're like, my family says Joleen, because Andy and I were both from the same area, but our styles are totally different. So it's great to come to a show because you'll see two different styles of comedy, both hilarious. I know I'm biased, but there was your family said something like a badass or some I don't know, but I was like, oh my God, you guys make me feel so cool.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh yes, they love you.
Okay. And your mom's the best. And okay. Oh yeah, you have 1.8. You have a 1,800.
All right. I got
or 1,081. Something.
1,081.
I don't know. I can't tell.
I remember I got to 1,000 and I was like, all right, that's enough.
You can, Andy, keep going. You can monetize when you get so many watch hours to Andy's channel, and we'll drop it here, you guys. Sub, and you have some great comedy on there. And remember our we did a Pokemon sketch.
Yeah, I should have to put that up there.
We've done so much nerdy stuff. We did other sketches too and all that. So yeah, you are so welcome, Elaine. Don't forget to hit that like on the way out. Have a wonderful weekend. You guys are amazing. Andy, come back. Maybe we'll cover next season of Survivor.
That'd be so fun. I'm down to jump on.
Fun. Okay, everyone head over to Mastodon.world.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
This was so fun. Thank you.
Bye.